Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Erin Marie Szymanski. So glad to have you all here today. So grateful for the music too. I wish I could just bottle that up sometimes when I'm low energy, just pop it open. And, yeah, like a little 5-hour energy bottle. Just bottle some of this up. We are an inclusive organization here at the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. We really strive to support every person in their individual journey with spirit and our evolution on this journey of humanness. And so we're happy to have you all here today. And if there is anything we can do to be a support for you, just reach out and let us know. We would love to be that for each other. I'd like to say hello to our online viewers as well. Those of you on Facebook, please give a share, let other people know that we're here, and say hello where you're from. We'd love to know where you're watching from. That'd be great too. And we will be uploading the video of this service to our Columbus CSL YouTube channel for later viewing pleasure as well. If you wouldn't mind, please say our mission statement together with me. We serve the transformation of individual lives through education, spiritual practice, and deep community, using spirit and science of mind principles as our compass. Wonderful. And now I'd like to introduce our practitioner for the morning, Joni Bauman, who's going to lead us in a 10-minute meditation and bring us out with prayer. Thank you.
I invite you to take a moment and to get settled, feeling that presence, feeling the joy of being alive and ready to go deep within. As you take a deep breath in, feel that expansion, breathing in and releasing as you breathe out. As you take another deep breath, holding that breath for a few seconds, and then breathing it out slowly, allowing your whole body to completely relax on the out-breath. With each breath you take, you become more relaxed, more open, more clear of mind, and more ready to receive. Let's prepare to open our consciousness and claim our good, moving through life knowing that this is our divine inheritance. And know that this divine spirit is acting through us. And knowing that there is a deep stillness and power within, a natural wholeness that has no choice but to manifest in abundant good. And as we clear out our minds and breathe easily and effortlessly, let us be open to this silent partner within, this silent life itself. And so I ask you to consider these passages from This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. And I'll be using the I voice, substituting the first person perspective, so that we can really encompass these words internally. I am an eternal being now on the pathway of endless unfoldment. Never less, but always more myself. Life is not static. It is forever dynamic, forever creating, and not something done and finished. Instead, it is something alive, awake, and aware. There is something within me that sings the song of eternity, and I listen to it. There is an eternal springtime of my soul, always rising but never setting, is the sun of my destiny. And I commune with this invisible presence within me until there comes a certainty which is beyond hope, something which enables me to see clear-eyed the future as I see the past. Spirit, grant that I shall enter into this freedom today. I refuse to worry about anything, and I have complete confidence that the Spirit who is always with me is able and willing to lead me into the pathway of peace and happiness. And I free myself from every sense of condemnation, either against myself or others. I lose every sense of animosity. For I now understand that there is a principle and a presence in every person, gradually drawing him or her into the kingdom of good. And I know that the kingdom of good and of God is at hand, and I am resolved to enter into this kingdom, to possess it and to let it possess me. As an expression of Spirit's divine nature, I am a free soul. I am completely, positively, and eternally free. Free from doubt, fear, unhappiness, today and forever. And I substitute it with the knowledge that I am eternal, I am creative, I am never less but always more myself. So as we continue to reflect on this wholeness, this freedom, this sense of joy and surrender, I invite you to a few moments of musical interlude. of this reflection, consider these additional words from this thing called you. Throw yourself into complete abandon, into the all-consuming fire of inward conviction. Say, I know that the divine spirit is operating through me now. I know that I am not limited by anything that has happened or by anything that is now happening. I am entering into an entirely new set of conditions, circumstances. That which has no limit is flowing through my consciousness into action. And I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the forces of nature in its grasp. And I stand amidst the eternal waves and let the winds of spirit blow full and free all around me. And as we conclude our reflection, I invite you to re-enter the room and slowly become aware of your surroundings again. Slightly moving and opening your eyes when you're ready. Namaste. Please join me now in prayer. As we continue to go to that deep place within, I am conscious of this presence of spirit, divine wholeness and fullness of life. And as I am one with this wonderful presence, a source of calm, peace, truth, and love, creatively expressing as each of us, I know the same is true for all of us, connected in spirit. And so today I claim infinite expansion for each of us, knowing that the kingdom of good and the kingdom of God is at hand. And as we experience that expansion and open our consciousness, we become more aware of this divine energy, which flows through us with radiant health, vitality, peace, poise, and power, that accompany this vitality and make our lives complete. Divine Spirit is operating through us now, individualized as each of us, and allowing us to share our talents and our treasure with all. So as we come back together in this service, I know that it is in divine order, perfect and blessed, lifting us up with love and overflowing joy. So with a grateful heart for this calming and enlightened presence within, please join me in saying, so it is.
My
Okay. It has been a bit of a rough week for me. I don't know how it's been for any of you. And it hasn't been like any one huge particular thing that's been rough, but it seems like it's just been kind of this layer after layer after layer of things just kind of building up over the week that has just left me at the end of the day yesterday feeling very weighed down. So I've been training to a new job that has just put a lot of responsibility and learning, and when I'm learning things, it kind of tires me out mentally a little bit, and especially with my work with patients, sometimes there's an emotional kind of exhaustion that comes with that too. And we've had some baby deer in the neighborhood that have been getting bedded down in our backyard and the neighbors' backyards, and it's been so lovely and so sweet, and at the same time really stressful, because anytime the lawn mowing people come by or something scares the babies, and they run and they jump into the fences, and it's like this whole it's a whole thing to try to keep them safe, as much as possible, and make sure that we're watching for the mama does to come back and make sure everything's okay. But there's also been technology issues, and they seem to kind of put me over the edge more than other things, because technology is supposed to make my life easier, and when it makes my life harder, I get more frustrated by that than other things. And so the particular kicker for me this week was I lost my access to Global CSL's website that allows me to see what the talk topics are and what the general themes are. And I noticed this early in the week, and I reached out to tech and got this very most complicated process of resetting a password I have ever experienced in my life. Delete your caches and your cookies, and use this browser, not that browser, and a desktop, not a laptop, or whatever. It was like this whole, it was crazy, and it still didn't work. And so I had reached out to, phone a friend. Help me out here, what's the topic? And so my friend sent me the information I needed, and I was like, okay, I've got days, I'm prepping for my talk, I'm getting ready. And yesterday evening, I get a message from my friend saying, I sent you the wrong information. Oh, and I was like, that's just like the cherry on the top of the week I've had, right? So I had this whole other talk prepared, and then I went and I looked at the talk for today, and I thought this is actually much more aligned with what my life has been like for the last week. Our life can be really crazy making sometimes, right? Things out of our control, and then also how we get kind of mired up and mucked in all the messes and dramas and all the places our emotional energy can go. And I found myself wondering, where do these expectations come from that we have for ourselves, and what our life should look like, or how clean or messy or whatever any of our relationships and work environment should be, or how invested I should be in the baby deer and whether it's safe or not, and right, all these things that we get tied up in, and how do we choose what we're going to put our value in, how we're going to prioritize the things that get our energy and our focus, and the things that we allow ourselves to get really kind of caught up and enmeshed in, even more than we need to. And so as I was looking at the talk is standing on Shiva, and as I was trying to figure out what that story was even about, I read it and I thought, well, this story is too good not to really share with you the real story that this comes from. So I'm going to share this story with you of standing on Shiva from the Hindu tradition, and I invite you to listen for whatever part of the story really seems to resonate for you and where you are in your life right now, and if there's any particular character that you seem to really be relating to from this story right now. And just remember that at any given time, we're kind of all the different characters in whatever story we're listening to. we're all of it. We're the mess, we're the cleanup, we're the person, poking things and making them a problem, we're the person that's helping to heal things. We're kind of all of it. But what is resonating for you today? Just listen for that, okay? So, in the Hindu tradition, there's this story where there was a war happening on the earth between the gods and the demons. And at this particular time, the demons were winning. There was great devastation across the earth. The fields had been trampled. There was lots of loss of life. There was just kind of mass devastation across the earth. And that was pretty distressing to the gods. And so the gods were trying to figure out what they could do different. Like, well, how can we change this, right? This is not going the way we want it to go. Things are looking really bad. And so they called upon the goddess Durga. Durga is a major goddess in the Hindu tradition. She is the goddess of motherhood, of protection, of strength. And she's associated with the destruction that comes with war as well. Like, she's kind of the fierce female energy. In artwork, she's often pictured on a tiger, like riding a tiger, riding a lion. And she has many arms that are each holding a different weapon. And so she is the one that they go to, and they're like, come on, help us out here. Like, we need you. Like, we need you to take over this and help us win. And so she went to battle with the demons, and she had managed to slay all of the demons but one. And the one that she hadn't yet slain was kind of the demon general, like the top demon, right? And I probably am going to say the name incorrectly, but I have it as Raktabija. So Raktabija was this fiercest leader of the demons. And the really interesting thing about him was that anytime his blood touched the ground, 1,000 more demons were born of that bloodshed. And so Durga, fighting as fiercely as she could, was finding that anytime she wounded this Raktabija, that blood caused, again, thousands and thousands and thousands of more demons to be born on the earth. And again, was struggling, found herself struggling again in the battle of, okay, I thought I had made all this progress, I was down to this one major demon, and now, again, look at where we are, thousands of demons. And so she became incredibly frustrated and incredibly angry, right? Just, nothing I'm doing is working. And out of her frustration, it says she furrowed her brow, and in her fury, born of her brow, was the goddess Kali. Kali. So Kali, born of this fury and this frustration, was born and immediately went about the task of destroying the demons again, okay? And she did it with two main techniques that I was so intrigued by. So the first was with her stare. Her stare was so furious, so enraged, that her gaze alone struck down a vast amount of these demons. And the second thing was with her scream. Her scream of rage and fury struck down another wave of demons. And again, all she had left was Raktabija. Knowing that if the blood touched the ground, 1,000 more demons would be born. If there are children watching, I probably should have prefaced. It's going to get a little more gory. So knowing that she could allow no blood to touch the ground, she sliced the throat of Raktabija and then drank the blood to prevent it from touching the ground. but that drained the blood and the life force of that demon, and it died. And so all the demons had then been eradicated. And then with the same passion with which she had struck down the demons, she began a celebration dance. And it danced across the bodies of demons that were all around the ground, and danced with such passion and fervor and caught up in it, like drunk on the blood of the demon, that she was not even aware of what was happening around her. And she was causing even more devastation than what the demons had caused, trampling more fields, more death, more devastation. And then the gods again were like, whoa, like we have a problem. It's not the demons anymore, but we have a problem. And they tried to talk to Kali, tried to break her out of this trance, and she wouldn't listen. She couldn't hear them. And so they went to the god Shiva and begged Shiva to intervene. Shiva is known as the destroyer of illusions. And he went to Kali and tried to wake her from this trance that she was caught in. And nothing he said made any difference. And so what he ultimately decided to do in desperation was to throw himself at her feet. And as she danced and she began to trample on him as well, she looked down and saw that it was him below her, and that was what awakened her and brought her back to her senses. And that is how the story ends. It's quite a story, huh? So before I move on from that, I want to invite you for just a moment to check in with yourself about that story and what part of that story or what character from that story seems to really resonate for you in your life right now, where you are, kind of runs a whole gamut of things, right? So where do you feel yourself resonating with that particular story?
Sometimes I do get frustrated and want to just scream by myself,
Yeah.
not at work, not around other people, but I could relate to that. When
Getting
things
frustrated
happen,
and
I just
wanting
need
to
to get that
scream,
anger out, because if I don't get it out, I'm going to push it down.
Needing that emotional release
Yes.
that comes from just screaming, getting it out. Yes.
I'm at the very beginning of that story, and I'm the guys that said, hey, Durga, I need some help.
Calling out for some help. That's right. That's right. Thank you. I think I ran a gamut of the story yesterday alone. I think I was in several different points of that story yesterday. So Shiva, I mentioned, is known as the destroyer of illusions, but in a really interesting way, in a way where his destructive power is intended to maintain balance and right order in things, to be transformative and help in the process of evolution, destroying imperfections, destroying attachments, destroying ignorance, and destroying that which stands between us and God, between us and spirit. So it's really interesting, not destruction in the same sense of, trampling the fields and mass destruction, but destroying that which can separate us from God. Whether that's the form of our attachments, the things that we're really, invested in emotionally, whether it's our job or our home or our friendships or whatever, just helping us realize that isn't the end goal. Right? The things that we're attached to isn't the end goal. Spirit is where we need to have our energy and our attention focused. So, the destroyer of illusion. And I'm going to invite you to pause again and consider for yourself, and you don't have to share out loud, but consider for yourself, is there something in your life right now that feels like it's out of balance a little bit, that maybe needs a little Shiva work to come and shake things up a little bit, where there's something that is, an illusion in a sense for you, something that is blocking that direct experience and relationship with God and Spirit in some area of your life. Just kind of tuck that in the back of your mind to be aware of for right now. It's really easy for us to get caught up in the demons of our lives, so to speak, to get caught up in the things that aren't going right, the things that are challenging us, that seem to be kind of messing things up and getting in the way, whether it's the technology challenges I had last week, or it's relationship issues, or it's financial strain, whatever the issue could be. We have plenty of them to choose from in our lives most of the time. There are all of these things that can draw our attention and our energy and our lives that aren't necessarily things that are helping us to become more fully ourselves, more fully alive in our spiritual journeys, in our becoming that person of life and beauty and joy and strength that we are called to be in spirit. It's easy to get caught up in that stuff that kind of sidetracks us. And it's interesting too that sometimes the more attention we give those things, they seem to kind of multiply, right? Their weight seems heavier. It's like the bloodletting of the demon that multiplies more demons. Sometimes the more we focus on the things that aren't going well, the things that are challenging and problematic, and we get caught up in the story of how bad and wrong they are, the more of a weight they are to our spirit, the more difficult it is to try to figure out a way to manage through them. And the more difficult it is to see Spirit, to see God in that experience, in that challenge, in that person, whatever it may be. And we can get really tempted to give up on it too, right? Sometimes we can just feel really overwhelmed by it all and kind of just throw up our hands like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm piecing out of this situation. I'm calling for help, or whatever it may be. Like I'm done. I don't even know what to do anymore. I've tried it all. I'm overloaded. I'm overwhelmed. I can't do it. And what we are encouraged to do in this teaching and this philosophy of the science of mind is to use our principles that we have, to use our teachings, our spiritual practices to kind of calm the crazy down a little bit, to break ourselves out of that trance we can get caught in of how overwhelming, how difficult, how challenging things are, and to stand on Shiva, to stand on that breaker of illusions. And what is a wonderful thing for us to do for ourselves is to know who that Shiva is for us in our lives. Like, what is the spiritual principle for us each individually that really is kind of the key hallmark principle that we know when we're struggling is the thing we can go to that's going to help us get centered and grounded again? What is the spiritual practice I can use that's going to help me kind of take a deep breath and get grounded and clear again in who I am in spirit, and change, therefore, what we're allowing to be planted in the ground. So change from the bloodletting that's allowing thousands more crazy things and demons to pop up in our lives, to change the focus from that to the seeds of peace and harmony and comfort and healing, and be planting those things in the ground so that what we're growing in our lives isn't the crazy, it's the peace and the strength and the healing. I know that last week Reverend Amy kind of read through, all of you collectively read through the principles of the science of mind. And I'm just going to briefly, not read through the whole ones again, but just kind of briefly name them again. And as I do that, allow yourself to think about that one area of your life that you're where maybe has some crazy making in it right now. And think if there's any one of these principles that might be a good principle to play with in that area. To shift your focus from, boy, this is crazy and stressing me out and overwhelming, to, okay, I'm going to take this idea and next time I have to face this crazy situation, I'm going to use this idea, this teaching, this concept, and see if it shifts anything for me. So, the principles in brief, that there is one God, just one. There's no little demon crazies running around. Everything is one, and it's all an expression of God. Everything is spirit. Heaven is on earth. Heaven is now. I don't have to get through this crazy now in order to achieve heaven later. Heaven is now. How do I see that? I have personal freedom. I have the ability to choose my life, what I experience in it, how I experience it. The unity of all life. That God is indwelling in all. And that Spirit reveals itself to each of us. I believe that I have the ability to use the creative force of Spirit to create good in my life. I believe in healing. I believe in the goodness of God. And I believe in my ability to choose my own destiny. Those are all very powerful principles, each in their own. And any one of those is enough to conquer any little demons, right? In a figurative sense. Any of those challenges, any of those messy situations in our life, any one of those can be a key for healing the challenges, the pain, the suffering, the overwhelm. Another interesting idea that came out of this talk title was I read that evil is live spelled backwards. And that's one of those things this kind of cool little word things, but I had never actually run into that one before. It surprised me. I thought, oh, there's a new one. I haven't seen that before. Evil is live spelled backwards. And so in the Centers for Spiritual Living and Science of Mind, we don't believe in evil as a force. We don't believe in demons that are, trying to co-opt us from the goodness and the truth of God. But we also recognize that bad stuff happens in the world, right? That there is suffering, that there are really destructive, painful situations that happen in our lives, in the world around us. We just don't think of it as an evil power that's separately operating from God. But this idea of evil as lived spelled backwards is really interesting because it allows us to kind of think of evil as living backwards, in a sense. As instead of focusing our energy on peace and healing and love and connection, communion, that kind of stuff, it's using our energy and focusing on that pain, focusing on the devastation, focusing on me versus them, separation. That's living backwards. And that's where a lot of our suffering comes from, right? Living backwards. So our job is to be people of the truth, people whose intention, whose energy, whose focus isn't upon the devastation, isn't caught up in all the drama, but is knowing what is true in any particular challenging situation and using our principles, using our spiritual practices, our meditations, whatever is the spiritual practice that works for you, using those things to ground in what we know to be true as individuals but also as a collective, as humanity, and allowing that to be what gets our focus and attention, because that's what will plant the seeds for more healing in our own lives and in our community. And so as we can get ready to close this talk and move into our prayer and our song, before we do that, I'd like to invite you to take a moment and just so you can solidify for yourself, to share with one other person, what is the principle that speaks to you in your life right now that you can use to apply to any particular situation you may go through. You don't have to share the background story or anything like that, but just share with somebody what is the principle that you can use to stand on as what you know to be true to meet those challenging areas of your life. I'll give you a minute to do that.
I was going to get my book out because I don't know them all generally, you know. But that's a good one. I can see where I can use that too. Thank you.
Thank you all. That truth that you've been able to identify for yourself, that is a truth across all time, across all circumstance. The circumstances of our lives change, right? Whatever is challenging me this week is not the same as what challenged me last week or a year ago or in my 20s. The circumstances of our lives change. But those truths, those principles, those spiritual practices, they are steady. They are rock solid through all time, through all experience, through all circumstance. They are what we have to stand on. They are our Shiva, to break the illusion of the circumstances and help us ground in the truth of who we are and who we are in spirit. In that knowing, I invite you to join me in prayer. There is one God, one Spirit, one source of all. That one who is true and steady in all time, in all condition. That one who is love and healing and oneness. And I know for myself, as I know for everyone with whom these words resonate, that I am an expression of that divine. That those same qualities of God, that love, that peace, that strength, those qualities are expressed in and through me, and expressed as my very self and being in the world. And that whatever I may be experiencing in my life, in the world of circumstance, whatever may feel like a challenge or suffering or overwhelm, all of that can be healed and is healed and made whole through that flow of spirit in me and as me. That as I show up in my consciousness and my awareness as love, as oneness, as wholeness, the circumstances around me shift to meet what I know to be true. My attention shifts, my focus shifts, my energy shifts, and my whole being is elevated in the expression of the divine. I give thanks for this, knowing that it is true always, and all I need to do is remember and stand on that truth, to break the illusions, to set myself free, to set the world free. From this place of knowing and deep gratitude, I give thanks, and together we say, and so it is. And now it is time for the giving of our gifts. I know that there are lots of ways that you and our community share your gifts with us, in your time, in your talents, in your prayer, in your coming and setting things up ahead of service, through your service. There are so many ways that you give to our community. And we also appreciate, of course, the ways that you give financially for our community, because it does help us to have our space together, to have our musician, and to have all the wonderful things that we love and celebrate together with. We have many convenient ways for you to donate to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. We have information on our slides with our text-to-give number. Also, obviously, you can still mail in a check if you have those laying around anywhere. And we have automatic donations, so many ways to try to make it easy for you. And we definitely, absolutely thank you for everything you are able to give to us, knowing that it is part of that flow of spirit in giving and receiving. I invite you to take the little card or your donation and hold it to your heart and say our affirmation together with me. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does its good and perfect work and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
As we witness the circulation, sing with us, I Am Prosperous by Eddie
I am
our minds, we are prosperous, we are abundant. We're so grateful for this celebration today and everyone sharing their talents and treasure. And as I take all of this in and experience this bounty, I know that the gifts presented here are given and received with love, joy, and a sense of abundance, of infinite source. So thankful that we are all one, and for the many gifts we bring, together we sing. And so we let it be. And so we let it be.
And now our time for giving thanks. I'd like to thank Joni Bauman for her service on the platform today and for leading us in meditation. I would like to thank Tony Bernardi for his service on keyboard and that lovely little foot chime. Yeah, exactly. To our song leaders, Debbie Conkle and Dave Scarborough, thank you very much. Robin for our slides and live streaming us on Facebook, for the team that was here this morning, got us open and everything set up. Thank you to all of you and all that you do for our center. Let's see, I know there was more. Oh yeah, of course, thank you to all of you for being here today, for being our community. Thank you for showing up on Facebook and for being you. May you be blessed, have a wonderful week. Know that you are invited to join us again next week when there's a potluck. And if you are joining us for the first time, we do have a welcome pamphlet that we'd be happy to share with you. You can reach out to us online and we can mail one to you. There's lots of ways we can get you information if you are interested. So thank you very much. And Joni, you've got a few announcements for us, I think.
Here we go. So everyone, as Reverend Erin Marie mentioned, is invited to join us next Sunday, July 23rd, for our next community potluck. Please bring a dish to share and spend time with friends. And if you forget to bring a dish to share, I know we always accept a love offering. We have classes that we will be offering starting this fall. Please watch your upcoming e-newsletter for more information. Sarah Awad will be facilitating a workshop on Sunday, July 30th called Writing as a Spiritual Practice. Please register and pay using the link in your recent e-newsletter, and if you need assistance in registering, our own Robin Brookhouse will help you via email or text. And if you would like prayer after service or anytime throughout the week, you can find our prayer practitioners on our website, columbuscsl.org. And you can also submit a prayer request on our Facebook page, and our practitioners are also available today after service. So please say our blessing with me. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now, and so it is. So let's all stand for our closing song, I'm Choosing Heaven Today.